What is going on, guys? It's Jordan here. This is day 2 of my 5-day storytelling masterclass, and I guess like day 7 of my 30-day challenge. But yeah, today we're going to talk about story. Now, story is important because it's so often overlooked. People always put too much or too little effort into making it new, original, creative, things like that. And the truth is, it doesn't have to be. A good story doesn't have to be new or creative, it just has to be told in a good way. Think about rom-coms. In the simplest form, every rom-com is the same. It's always character X is in love with character Y, and the whole story is just those two matching, getting together. And that's it. Or look at one of the greatest video games of all time, Mario Brothers. The story in its simplest form is just Princess Peach gets kidnapped, Mario goes to save her, and that's it. The fundamental story can be explained in like 1 or 2 sentences, and that's it. Everything else that happens in between, all these events, the character development, exposition, so on. These all come afterwards, and these are all the things that make the story immersive, that get us hooked, that make us care. Character, setting, mystery, all the other 4 pillars. These are the things that come afterwards. But the story itself, the core fundamental story, in its simplest form, that's what makes the difference here. It needs to be workable. It needs to be consistent. Look at one of the greatest films of all time, for example, Forrest Gump. The reason why Forrest Gump is such an incredible film isn't because of the story. The story in its simplest form is just American history, and it's a guy who's lived through American history, some key events. What makes this movie good is the way it is told. It's the way the character interacts with the story. It's the way each event in the story links with each other and they're all connected, and at the end it all comes together. It's the way some events, like with, for example, his girlfriend Ginny, when she leaves here, it's the continuity factor where she comes back here and maybe she leaves again and then she comes back here. And the continuity of how each small event, each little filler content you could say, it all links together and it all makes for an incredible story. Talking about filler, like, this is something that's so common in TV shows, filler episodes, where as soon as I start recording, cars come outside. Filler episodes, where even though, filler is needed sometimes just to prolong the series, a lot of shows, like I've seen this so often, where they have a filler episode where it's just the main characters, the protagonist, talking about all the other episodes. It's like a catch-up episode, and that just doesn't make any sense, especially because at this point I'm probably binge watching it. It needs to be consistent with the story, and it needs to be continuity. It needs to make sense. When you're making a film, for example, does this scene fit in with this scene? Do these 2 scenes together make sense for the end goal? Do all these events leading up to the climax actually influence the climax, make it good, make it special? In some of these games where you get to like pick different things at different points, do these decisions actually make an impact at the end, or is it just a point A to B story? That all these little things come, that obviously the fundamental story is, as I said, 1 or 2 sentences, but it's how all these little events along the way, it's how they all come into it, how it all makes sense, how they all tie into each other. And that's what makes some of these great films like Forrest Gump, Shawshank Redemption, so good. Even though the core story of like Shawshank is just a guy who gets unfairly thrown in prison, all the little events, how the characters interact with this event, how the character grows through this circumstance, and how each thing ties into each other is what makes it so good. What makes a good story is immersion, the way it's told, expositions, all this stuff, and the way it brings us into the character's world. These vans, man, they're actually killing me. But, well, man, I think I got the message across. I think I explained most of it. So, I'm just going to end the video there. Tomorrow we're going to talk about the 3rd pillar, which is setting. And, yeah, man, if you enjoyed the video, comment down below. If you like this series, let me know on Twitter or something. Subscribe to the channel for more, and all the shameless plugs and all the standard stuff. Yeah, but, yeah.